Hey, Ryan here. Happy Halloween. This is what you call your cold open. Here's a little sneak peek of the bullshit that awaits you in this episode. Okay, I know I ain't no M&M, I ain't got a sweater with vomit, but let me tell you about this comet. I grew up in the country. We'd go to the city, though, stop at Tape Deck and rent a video. I said, hey, here's one, can we rent this? It's produced by Dino De Laurentiis. The soundtrack is packed with riffs on guitars. Might have been fitting if they went with the Cars. They went in for the kill with AC/DC, though, and the hero Bill is played by Emilio.
Welcome to Horror Shuffle.
Well. Hello, welcome to the Horror Shuffle, a podcast for people like me who love horror movies. My name is Bubba, Ryan. It has been over a year since I recorded and released an episode. I took time off to play the Friday the 13th game before they shut the servers down last New Year's Eve, and then I just kind of got involved in doing, well, other things, mainly something that is actually related to the podcast, and then also just watching horror movies because I thought, the more I know or the more movies I see, the more I can reference them, like in the podcast and stuff like that. But also just work and spending time with my son. I thought I don't want this to stress me out. This is just kind of a fun hobby, really, right now. So I'm not making any money off it. So, it's just going to be a fun thing. And hopefully I do want to be releasing weekly episodes, but it just probably won't happen. But who knows? We'll see. I kind of got a head start with watching and taking notes on movies now. So, let's start. So this episode I will be talking about Maximum Overdrive, and since I last recorded the last episode and picked this movie, I did watch the 1997 kind of remake called Trucks with Timothy Busfield, which I had said I think in a previous episode that I will be disappointed if that movie does not have Timothy Busfield's character in a field full of buses, which it did not. So yes, I was disappointed. But the movie Trucks was okay. It's watchable, and it's kind of fun even. I'll probably cover it on the podcast, but anyway, yes, this episode is on 1986's that sounds weird. The 1986 Stephen King vehicle. No, well, pun intended. Actually, no, I really didn't intend that. But, the 1986 film Maximum Overdrive. This is a movie that I watched quite a bit growing up and through college, and even in recent years I would watch every now and then. It's like Stephen King described it eventually as a moron movie, and I agree. Yeah, it's just a movie that you can pop in and make some popcorn or whatever you want to eat. Chocolate covered cherries, pretzels, veal, Spam, whatever the hell you want to eat, and just watch a bunch of trucks wreak havoc on these survivors at this Dixie Boy truck stop. Okay, for the past few episodes, when I watch a movie, I have created a bingo card to play along with as I watch a movie, and the bingo card has things on it that could be shown or could happen in the movie. For instance, the last episode, Carnival of Souls, not much. I didn't end up crossing much off on the bingo card. Only spider web, somebody barricading a door, and someone painting. So I did replace those things with new things on this card. So for this movie, I have a Volkswagen Beetle, a verbal reference to another horror movie, a calendar, a hairdryer, actor Dick Miller, a character trips more than once, a morgue worker eating, a pre-90s music poster, an arrow with or without a bow, popcorn, someone is punched, a window breaking, tossing or dropping keys, an owl hooting, the use of a shovel, a character being mocked for being scared, swimming, a background character looking right at the camera, a character drops a weapon or doesn't take one when they should, breakfast cereal, a record player, binoculars, telescope, or microscope, so it could be one of those three, a cat scare, and a newspaper front page. And, of course, the free space is gratuitous nudity. And again, I still don't know what will happen if I get a bingo. It really doesn't mean anything. It's just for fun. There's no real point to it. I suppose I should mention before I go any further that if you care about spoilers, you should probably watch the movie first, but if you don't care about it, then I guess there's no need to. Alright, well, yeah, let's just get into Maximum Overdrive. So I have this on DVD, and my DVD version starts with Phase 4 Films with a logo that makes it seem like the movie is produced by Reed Richards, Susan Storm, and the Human Torch, and Ben Grimm. Then another logo, DEG, Doom Entertainment Group. No, of course, it's De Laurentiis Entertainment Group, named after Dino De Laurentiis, the producer of this movie, who also produced Cat's Eye, a movie I covered in episode 6, which of course was also a Stephen King movie. But this was also directed by King. So we start the movie off with a shot of the Earth from outer space. So it's round, so you know this movie is fiction. I'm kidding, of course. Everyone knows Earth is a trapezoid. I'm sure I'm like the 150 millionth person to make a joke like that, but oh well. Anyway, some text appears on the screen telling us on June 19th, 1987 at 9:47 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Earth passed into the extraordinary diffused tail of Rhea M, a rogue comet. According to astronomical calculations, the planet would remain in the tail of the comet for the next 8 days, 5 hours, 29 minutes, and 23 seconds. These are their stories. Viewer discretion is advised. Suck dupe. Okay, I added a few things. By the way, if you know where suck dupe is from, kudos. A green haze forms around the Earth, and we cut then to Wilmington, North Carolina, the same place we saw in parts of Cat's Eye. We see the first bank of Wilmington, and a digital sign is flashing the temperature, 79 degrees, and the time as 9:48, 1 minute into the tail of the comet. The sign changes to flash, "Fuck you." We then get a cameo by writer-director Stephen King using the Money Man 2 ATM, which displays the message, "You are an asshole."
Honey, come on over here, sugar buns. This machine just called me an asshole.
And then, as you hear, AC/DC's song Who Made Who starts playing as we get the opening titles. This is probably my favorite song of them by AC/DC because of this movie. So, coincidentally, this part starts with the ATM machine on 6/27/87, which is exactly 20 years after the first ATM machine was installed in London. We see two bridge operators playing rummy with cards with naked ladies on them. We then see some buttons and switches move by themselves, creating the bridge to go up without warning people. The light stays green and cars and people start sliding. A guy falls off his motorcycle and falls off the bridge into the water, and he screams or yells, Now, when I heard that yell, I immediately thought, I know that. I know another yell that's very similar to that. You know, it's a very Tarzan-like yell, but I knew it from somewhere else, and it took me a while. I'm gonna play it again. If you grew up in the '80s, you get major points if you can recognize another yell that's very similar in something else from around the same time this movie came out. And I'm probably the only weirdo who made this connection, but... So listen again to this yell and see if you can think of it. Does that seem similar to you from somewhere else? I mean, other than Tarzan? Where I recognized it from is an episode of The Muppet Babies entitled Raiders of the Lost Muppet, in which Animal is missing and the other Muppet Babies try to find him. And at one point they imagine that they're in a jungle and they hear a guy, like a Tarzan-like guy, swinging on a vine and yelling like this. Okay, I'm going to play both clips now back to back. First, I'll play the Maximum Overdrive clip and then the Muppet Babies clip. Man, I can't believe I'm single. Man, I love Muppet Babies. Anyway... As the bridge is rising, we also see a woman fly through the windshield of a car. So, there's the first thing I can cross off of my bingo card. A broken window or window breaking. Maybe there'll be a Volkswagen Beetle here somewhere. Next, a dump truck falls off into the water, and it's done in a really slow motion shot, so it's really cool. More people go through windows, watermelons are smashed, the bridge operators panic, confused by it all. We are then introduced to the film's main character, or at least antagonist, the Happy Toys truck with the big green goblin on the front. The truck says, "Here comes another load of joy" on the side. And of course the green goblin face on the front of the truck was modeled after the Spider-Man villain, the Green Goblin. It pulls into the Dixie Boy truck stop. There's also a Bic truck, as in Bic pens. Two mechanics or attendants watch the truck pull in. They are Joe, played by Pat Miller, and Duncan, played by J.C. Quinn. The driver of the truck, named Handy, probably a nickname, is played by Frankie Faison. I think that's how his last name is pronounced. Frankie and J.C. Quinn were also in Chud, so we'll see them again eventually. Handy tells Duncan to give her a big drink as he goes in to get coffee. We then meet Wanda June, who has this line as she's trying to get something on the radio in the diner.
Well, this thing was working just fine a few minutes ago, and now I can get Pete Turkey on it.
FYI, P-turkey is an Appalachian term for nothing. Now, also in this scene, it's not super easy to see, but in the background, you can see boxes of breakfast cereals, Special K, Raisin Bran, Corn Flakes, and I think Corn Pops. So, I can cross breakfast cereal off the bingo card. Now, Wanda June is played by Ellen McElduff, who will be brought up in another episode of this podcast when I cover Christmas Evil, where she plays a mother who really loves Santa. We then meet Bill Robinson, played by Emilio Estevez, and then Hendershot, the, I assume, manager/owner of the Dixie Boy truck stop, and he is played by the great Pat Hingle, and they have this wonderful exchange.
Robinson, get in here, boy.
I got eggs on.
I don't give a ladybug. I want you in here now.
I don't give a ladybug. I'm going to try to use that expression at work this week. Okay, now, we cut to a very young Giancarlo Esposito, Gus Fring from Breaking Bad, in the game room where the pinball games are playing themselves. Yeah, Giancarlo Esposito. That's awesome. The cigarette machine starts spewing packs of cigarettes and change, and he starts stuffing as many as he can in his pockets. It's crazy there used to be cigarette vending machines. We then cut back to Duncan as he's filling up the Happy Toys truck. That reminds me of the toy store in Home Alone 2 is called Duncan's Toy Chest. Shit, there I go bringing up Home Alone 2 again. By the way, I thought for a second that the toy factory in Christmas Evil might have been called Happy Toys, but it's actually Jolly Dreams. Alright, so the fuel pump stops working, and as Duncan tries to figure out what's wrong, he points it towards his face and gets sprayed in the face as fuel shoots out as he's looking into it. We then cut to Joe offering Duncan a wet cloth as he lays down in a bed or cot next to a wall of nude pictures of women clearly cut out of porn magazines. A character named Steve radios Hendershot about what happened, and he basically dismisses it and then tells Bill that he'll have to work 9 hours but is only going to get paid for 8 or he'll go back to jail or prison. So I guess he hires people on parole to exploit them. Or, well, take advantage of them. Oh, and he also refers to him as Bubba.
Ain't that right, Bubba?
Oh, and every time they show the eggs and bacon and shit being cooked on the big griddle, I just want to reach in and take a handful. So Bill/Bubba notices most of the employee time cards have a star sticker on them, which Hendershot explained that they are on parole. One employee, Jeff Moore, has 2 stars on his card. I don't know, double parole? The names on the time clock punch cards are Tim Pope, Jeff Moore, Chuck Parmentier, Gene Poole, Paul Godwin, John Stokes, and Stephanie Fowler. Now, a Tim Pope worked on this movie, and Gene Poole was the dolly grip. There's a famous violinist and German dance orchestra leader named Paul Godwin, but yeah, I don't know if that's who they are referencing. I assume these were all people who worked on the film. I went through all of the crew members, and like Gene Poole wasn't listed, but according to the trivia, he was the dolly grip. So yeah, I don't know. Anyway, an electric carving knife starts up on its own next to Wanda June, but stops, and we cut to the front page of the 1987 issue of the Wilmington Morning Star with the headline, "Comet Arrives, Millions Watch Fascinated." So, I can cross off newspaper front page on my bingo card. A Volkswagen Beetle and Dick Miller will give me 4 corners, a bingo. Now, I don't think Dick Miller's in this, so the chances of that happening are pretty slim. Another story on the front page of the paper is about a baggage explosion that killed 2 baggage handlers in a Tokyo airport, which did happen in 1985. So yeah, that's a real story. So they just like not computer cut and pasted, but like old time cut and pasted the Comet article on the real paper, which of course they usually do in movies. Suddenly, as Wanda June is tending to the griddle, the electric knife starts up again, slicing into her forearm. Now, I love the music they play. It's very reminiscent of Psycho. That music plays anytime somebody is attacked by a vehicle or device. Alright, so the knife, having been knocked onto the floor, moves across the floor and slices into one of Wanda Jean's feet through the shoe. Or, did I say Wanda Jean? I meant Wanda June. Bill and the others rush to help as she screams, and they look at the knife on the floor in a pool of her blood. The knife starts up again, and Bill/Bubba smashes it with a hammer several times before it finally stops. We then cut to the arcade room again, and Giancarlo Esposito's character, having filled his pockets, becomes sort of transfixed with one of the games flashing different symbols and shapes, and when he touches the game, he gets electrocuted. It's a Star Castle video game, which was a real game, of course. You can also see a Knight Rider pinball game next to him. The guy starts smoking and sparks fly as he flips backward and lands dead on the floor. It also looks like there's a Purple Rain pinball game. Coincidentally, Apollonia Cotero, who starred in Purple Rain, was in an episode of Knight Rider. As Bill opens the door to the game room, we see on the door it says no alcohol and do not kick the games. They find the fried corpse, and we cut to a baseball field. One of the kids playing is Deke, who is Duncan's son, played by Holter Graham, which is a cool name. He was also in the movie Fly Away Home. Interestingly, he also narrates the audiobook version of Christine. At least one of them, the one I saw on Spotify. The coach of the team goes to buy the kids some pops from a pop machine, or, soda if you're from a place that you don't call it pop. The coach actually refers to them as sodas in this movie. He puts money in the machine, and it seems like it's empty or broken, when suddenly a can shoots out and pegs him in the nuts. The kids laugh, but then another can hits him in the chest, and another one in the head. Then it starts shooting out cans at the kids. Deke approaches the coach, and he's seemingly dead. There's a nicely done bloody wound on his head. So yeah, he's dead or close to it. More cans shoot out, and Deke covers his face with an umpire's mask. Then he crawls over to the coach to see if he's okay. What a good kid. The coach is unresponsive, and more cans shoot out, and Deke runs away. Then another kid is riding a bike, and this is something that's always confused me. It seems as if the kid's bike bucks him off of it. Then a steamroller comes out of nowhere. No one is driving, of course, and it fucking runs the kid over. Jesus Christ. Let me check my bingo card. Let's see. Nope. No kid getting steamrollered. Poor kid. Anyway, Deke gets on his bike, which works fine. He doesn't get bucked off of it. Which, yeah, I don't... So, did the other kid's bike, is it sentient and, bucked him off? I'm not really sure what happened there. Oh, and also, the scene where the kid gets run over by the steamroller... originally, they actually packed a bag or something with, blood and fake blood and guts in order for it to kind of explode and cause a red stain on the steamroller. But it looked way too gruesome, and the censors made them take it out. Oh, and speaking of getting bucked off of something, so I work in a nursing home, and years ago, I had a resident, this 80-something-year-old woman, tell me I just got bucked off a coyote. I guess she was dreaming or hallucinating and actually thought that she was riding on the back of a coyote and got bucked off. Man, you never know what you're going to hear there. So yeah, like I said, Deke's bike doesn't seem to have been affected by the comic, but also not all vehicles are affected. In fact... We then cut to a car driving down the highway, and the driver is named Camp Loman. He's a Bible salesman, but more like a con man. His passenger is a woman named Brett, who has hitched a ride with Loman. Loman keeps trying to feel her thigh as she's trying to get some news on the radio, and Brett does get a broadcast warning people to get off the highways, and Loman pays no attention. He's too busy sipping out of a flask. Brett forces him to pull into the Dixie Boy truck stop parking lot by grabbing the wheel after telling him if he touches her again, he'll be wiping his ass with a hook. The guy is, he's a scumbag, and he starts yelling at her for walking away from him when she gets out of the car. And then she replies,
Eat my shorts.
which, of course, is a catchphrase of Bart Simpson, whose sister Lisa is voiced by Yeardley Smith, who we will be seeing in this movie very soon. Loman chastises Brett for her manners, blaming rock and roll. Meanwhile, the Happy Toys Green Goblin truck starts up and tries to run them over. Brett very graciously pulls Loman out of the way of the truck, and the truck parks waiting nearby. Brett and Loman join the others in the diner, trying to make sense of things. Handy, the driver of the Happy Toys truck, reveals that he has the keys. Then someone else responds saying, Hell's Bells, which of course is an AC/DC song that we will hear later in the movie. We're then introduced to newlyweds Connie and Kurt, played by Yeardley Smith and John Short. They pass by some junked cars, and their headlights turn on and off, the junked cars. Kind of like the cars in Nightmare on Elm Street 3 in the junkyard. They stop at a gas station about 3 miles away from the Dixie Boy, where they find a man lying dead. We see a clock running backwards quite fast, and suddenly a tow truck starts up off-screen and drives into view and tries to run Curtis down. We see blood on one of the headlights, but the blood must be from the dead guy that they saw because Kurt is okay. They embrace Kurt and Connie, not Kurt and the truck, or the dead guy. Anyway, they're interrupted by the truck trying to start again. It's a really cool and great sound. The truck starting, not Connie screaming. I feel like anytime some asshole guy is like trying to start a fight, like, oh, you want to fucking start something, you could substitute his words for the sound of that truck trying to start. Anyway, yes, Connie does scream, though, a lot. And she jumps in the car, and Curtis follows suit, and Connie peels out and burns rubber, heading toward the Dixie Boy. We see a new truck pull into the truck stop, Zeke's Trash and Garbage Removal, perhaps there to pick up Loman. Hendershot and Joe, who Hendershot also calls Bubba, discuss Giancarlo Esposito's character's body and how Bubba Joe brought it downstairs to hide it. Bubba Bill goes out and looks around in the cab of the Happy Toys truck, finding a jack-in-the-box, which a little green goblin pops up as he opens a curtain. Brett comes out and startles him a little, and the truck is like watching them. The side veer moves as if it's an eye or something. Whew. Ryan here interrupting because what the hell just came out of my mouth? I was supposed to say side view mirror, but this is the bullshit that I just said. The side veer moves. Side veer. What the hell? Anyway. Brett tells Bill that he's cute and they clearly like each other. Love at first sight. Or at least lust. We then cut to Deke riding his bike through his neighborhood and he ends up seeing just carnage. Get it? Carnage?
Eat my shorts.
Alright, sorry. There's kind of a funny scene where these sprinklers are turning on as Deke passes them, and when he turns around to look, they turn off. It's kind of like a Looney Tunes moment or Three Stooges. We then see a guy who has a chainsaw resting on his neck, dead. Another person apparently killed by a pair of headphones. I'm not sure how. Another dead guy in his Pizza City delivery vehicle, head and arms draped over the door, and it's not just any vehicle, though. It is a Volkswagen Beetle. So I can cross that off of my bingo card. I just need Dick Miller for the four corners. A morgue worker eating and a background character looking right at the camera will also give me a bingo. Deke sees other bodies, including a poor dog apparently killed by a toy police car, which that really sucks. And yeah, we'll just move right on past that. We see a woman hanging out of an upstairs window with a hairdryer cord wrapped around her neck. I don't even know how that could have happened, but I don't give a shit. All I care about is I can cross off hairdryer off my bingo card. An ice cream truck approaches and Deke hides behind some hedges. We see a bloody lawnmower, which makes me think of the movie Sinister. The lawnmower starts up and chases after Deke. We then cut to Loman trying to sell a Bible, and Joe is trying to stop Duncan from going to look for Deke.
Look, man, you can't even see.
I can see just fine.
I don't want to pop you one, Joe. If you keep yapping at me, I'm gone.
Yeah, fucking hit him. Then I can cross someone getting punched off my bingo card. I guess that's a greedy reason. Anyway, Hendershot warns Duncan if he leaves without punching out, he won't ever have to punch out again. Speaking of punching. Oh, and of course, he calls Duncan Bubba. Does Hendershot have pets? I'd like to think he has a dog, cat, parakeet, and goldfish, and they're all named Bubba. Kinda like how George Foreman, speaking yet again of punching, named all of his sons George. In addition to boxing, of course, George Foreman was also known for endorsing the George Foreman grill, which was named after him. And I always thought it'd be funny if he had endorsed other products, but insisted they all be named the George Foreman grill, just like his kids. And so he'd do a commercial like, yeah, this mop will revolutionize the way you clean your floors. That's right, the George Foreman grill will make your floors shine. And like he'd do that for like every product. If I already said that on the podcast in a previous episode, I apologize. I don't remember. Bill threatens to knock Hendershot's teeth out if he doesn't leave Duncan alone. Then we hear a truck engine starting. It's the trash removal truck, and it starts heading for Duncan. And he drops something and is distracted, and the truck just slams into him, and he splatters blood all over the front end. But hold on. What was it he dropped? It was a set of keys. So, I can cross tossing or dropping keys off of the bingo card. Hey, if we hear an owl hooting and someone does get punched, I'll have a bingo. Oddly enough, J.C. Quinn, who plays Duncan, died the day before Holter Graham's 32nd birthday. The trash truck then crashes into Loman's car and dumps a bunch of trash on it. Kinda reminds me of the manure truck in Back to the Future. Loman runs out yelling at the truck. Well, the driver, he thinks. Bill tries to get him back inside and says, Happy asshole. Man, I love this movie. The happy asshole toys truck starts up and backs into Loman and knocks him into the ditch, where he belongs, and the truck then drives ahead, running over Loman's Bible briefcase, and it and the trash truck park again. Hendershot uses a CB radio, and he refers to himself as Bubba Hendershot. But who the hell knows? His name could be Calvin or Rutherford. It would have been funny if he was like, come in, we got a situation here. A couple of trucks are causing a ruckus and they killed Bubba and Bubba. Handy and another person bring Duncan's body in, and in the background we see a calendar. So I can cross off the calendar off of my bingo card. Next, all of the trucks outside start up and sound their horns. Red horn! You gotta listen to the Cat's Eye episode to know what the hell that is. The trucks start circling the Dixie Boy, and among them are a Miller Light truck, or, well, it just says Miller, and a liquid oxygen truck. We then cut to Kurt and Connie. Sounds like a woman who specializes in window dresses. Kurt and Connie. Anyway, Kurt and Connie see a convoy of trucks heading the way that they're coming from on the other side of like a divided highway. They nearly get hit by a truck, and Kurt says,
I think I just loaded my pants.
the truck starts following them and bumps into them, and this part reminds me so much of Duel. And Carrie Lofton, who played the psycho tanker truck driver in that movie, also worked on this. So chances are it was actually him driving both. They then drive in a zigzag pattern.
Serpentine! What? Serpentine!
And cause the truck to careen off the road and down a grassy embankment, erupting into flames, and eventually exploding. And the Serpentine clip that I played, if you don't know, that is from the classic movie In-Laws, which I highly recommend. They then go to the Dixie Boy, and they see the circling trucks and try to go through them because there was like a little gap in between them, but they get clipped by one of the trucks, and their car flips over, and they end up upside down. This movie is kind of in the same vein as the A-Team or the Dukes of Hazzard. How cool would it be if Mr. T and James Best would have been in this? Or Sorrel Book, who played Boss Hogg. He could have been a great Hendershot. Anyway, Bill and Brett run out to help them, and as they run over to the Dixie Boy, Hendershot comes out with a bazooka, which he probably calls Bubazooka, and he blows up the trash truck. Oh, and yeah, he calls the truck Bubba. What the hell? He blows up another truck, and Bill asks him where he got the bazooka, and Hendershot tells him he found it in his Christmas stocking. Apparently, this same line was used in a novel or story called Roadwork, written by Stephen King under the name Richard Bachman. Wait a minute. Bachman Maximum Overdrive. Oh boy. As they head back inside, you see a shot of like hundreds of rolls of toilet paper. The trucks hit Kurt and Connie's car a couple more times. Bill and Brett flirt and hug as we cut to Deke as he sees the truck smoldering that was chasing Kurt and Connie. Then a plane flies with Ride of the Valkyries playing an homage to Apocalypse Now. In that statement, there's two words I had to look up the pronunciation to. Valkyries and homage. Or homage. There's certain words I'm never sure or I forget the proper pronunciation of. Deke hides from the plane and then takes off after it passes, heading for the Dixie Boy. We see Joe in a bathroom stall reading a high society magazine. Well, reading, yeah, sure. Bill asks Joe about Hendershot's stash of weapons, and Joe admits that he's got a lot. Brett and Bill go down to check out the stash and find Giancarlo's body. Hendershot catches them and makes a comment about Bill being obtuse, which reminds me of Shawshank Redemption, which is also written by Stephen King. Maximum Security Prison Overdrive. Alright, shut up. Hendershot tells Brett about Bill's criminal past, and then Bill elaborates, and Brett doesn't seem to mind at all. Next, Deke makes it to the Dixie Boy and sees the truck circling. We then see that Bill and Brett have jumped into bed together, and she says,
I'll tell you one thing.
What's that?
You sure make love like a hero.
Wait a minute. Now, I don't know why, but for some reason, I want to add something to that clip. Let's just try this.
You sure make love like a hero. Let's go, girls.
I don't know why that seems fitting, but it does, to me anyway. So he makes love like a hero. Did he hum the Star-Spangled Banner or When Johnny Comes Marching Home? Well, maybe. Humming can be a helpful... never mind. Wait, actually, this brings up a question. Would this comet or aliens or whatever affect vibrators? If it's affecting toy police cars, I'd sure be hesitant to get intimate with anything with an on or off switch. Wait a minute. You know what? Come to think of it, Maximum Overdrive would be a great name for a vibrator. In fact, it could be shaped like the Green Goblin face. That broad, pointy chin and that pointy nose. You might have to tweak the design or the shape a little bit, but I think it would work nicely. Huh. Talk about happy toys. Here comes another load of joy. All right, enough. Sorry. Brett tells Bill that she thinks the comet is causing all of this craziness. They look outside at the weird green haze in the sky, and she suggests that things might go back to normal when the comet passes in 7 days. They then come up with a plan to use sailboats to get to an island where motor vehicles aren't allowed. Then we see Joe is playing something on the Jesus at the Last Supper jukebox, but it starts sparking and goes dead. Wanda June has had enough and runs outside yelling at the trucks.
We're just some loyalty, you puking thing!
We made you!
We made you!
She almost gets hit, the trucks start blaring their horns, and then the power goes off, and on, and then off, and then it stays off. As everyone hangs out in the diner, they hear Loman, the Bible salesman, yelling and calling for help. So, he's still alive. Shit. Bill says that there might be a way to get to him, and we then see Deke crawling through a culvert to get across the highway or road. Bill and Curtis head to get Loman. Connie tries to stop Curtis, but gives in and just tells him to not make her a widow on her wedding day. They get to the building where the showers are, and one of them says Bubba's private shower. But since they all seem to be Bubba to Bubba, who knows? As they access the sewer through the big drain in the shower room, we get AC/DC's For Those About to Rock, We Salute You. They secure a rope and climb down and make their way through. They possibly encounter Splinter on his way to New York City. Deke finds Loman with his face caked with muck, like Muckman. That's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle deep cut. Oh man, if only Joe was the one who got sprayed in the eyes with Diesel, 'cause in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Muckman's partner is Joe Eyeball. Alright, anyway, Loman seems dead until Deke goes to leave, and then he springs up and grabs him, telling him to pull him out, or up. Bill and Kurt get there and pull Loman off of Deke, and then a truck must have heard them or something. I don't know. I mean, is anyone going to argue the logic of Maximum Overdrive? There's no way that truck that's driving by itself would have heard them. Fucking bullshit. The truck drives down into the ditch and chases them. They get in the culvert just in time as the truck crashes into the culvert. Also, they just leave Camp Loman there, assuming he's dead. But is anyone really going to argue about saving him? Well, maybe, actually. In fact, I guess some people may feel he'd be a swell candidate for president. Anyway, Deke asks Bill about his dad, Duncan, when they get back to the showers, and Bill doesn't answer, which really kind of is an answer, and Deke suspects that his dad is dead. Man, this is like a Disney movie. Oh, by the way, I just noticed Deke is totally wearing a numbered jersey with the number 3 on it, so that makes 4 numbered jerseys in movies that I've covered so far. Ned wearing a number 88 in Friday the 13th, Amanda in Curtains also wearing number 88, and then Sheila's kid in Visiting Hours with a number 49 on it, and then now Deke with number 3. Bill blows another truck up with the bazooka, and Deke asks about his dad again, and Hendershot bluntly tells the kid that his dad got scrubbed by one of them big boys. Brett calls him a shithead and slaps him. Ah, I wish he had punched him. The next morning, Deke is the first one up and he's blowing bubbles. Wonder bubbles. Although Hendershot probably calls them Bubbas. Man, I used to love bubbles when I was a kid. I remember sitting on my grandma's porch blowing actually these same kind of bubbles in the yellow container, and I pretended that they were full of army soldiers, and wherever they landed, they would be stationed there. I had some odd games as a kid. I also used to play bus driver, where I would use either a cart with wheels that we had, a push mower, like an old-time push mower, or my little brother's tricycle to pick people up with them, and I had this whole route that I'd follow. I was a weird kid. Well, I'm still weird. Next, we see a bulldozer and a military vehicle with a mounted gun heading to the Dixie Boy. Deke sees them and wakes Bill up, and Deke and Holter Graham, who's playing him, is like 13, can totally see all of the topless and spread-eagled ladies posted on the wall. So, I don't know, I assume that this was Duncan's and Joe's room, or, well, I don't know, but then again, they probably don't sleep there, so I don't know. In any case, Deke doesn't seem to be fazed by it. We see the bulldozer blazing through the wreckage of one of the blown-up trucks. Then it pushes Hendershot's car, with the license plate saying Bubba, of course, into the diner, breaking through the wall. Hendershot gets the bazooka and blasts the roof off of the bulldozer, and then the mounted machine gun starts blasting and shoots Hendershot, killing him dead. Well, killing him. A few other people are shot, characters who never really got any development. Also, there's like this growling noise when the gun stops firing, and some speculate that it is actually the noise of like an invisible alien. Huh, what if these are predators? Wanda June then picks up the bazooka and goes out screaming again.
Hang on me! We made you! Can't you understand? Wanda, no! You can't do this! We made you!
And yeah, the machine gun just nails her with some nice squibs. And as she collapses, she does, I guess involuntarily, fire the bazooka, blowing up the Miller truck. Ha, Miller time's up. I've got to say the explosions are pretty cool in this movie. There's something about explosions in older movies, and I'm not even really a huge lover of explosions in movies, at least not anymore. But they work in this movie especially. The horn on the military vehicle starts beeping, and Deke realizes that it's Morse code. He deciphers their message, which says,
Be sure to drink your Ovaltine.
Wait, no, that's not right. They actually want someone to fuel the trucks because they're getting low on gas. The power even comes back on so that they can. Bill figures if they don't do it, they could send a plane to drop napalm on them or something. So, he goes out and starts filling up the tanks with Brett's help, and also the help of AC/DC's Hell's Bells. And then Kurt and the others come out and help as well. Trucks come from all over to be filled, and eventually they run out of fuel, but then a truck carrying fuel shows up. They use it to refill their supply, and Bill is worn out, so Handy takes over and Brett takes him in to rest, which I guess he does. Then I assume time passes and Bill comes out and tells one of the guys he has a plan, and we see someone cutting up a wire grating or cover off of a different culvert. Bill tells the guy to run when he says to, and then he drops a grenade onto the machine gun vehicle, blowing it up as they make it safely inside. And they all climb down into the sewer, I think from a different tunnel or a manhole, and then the trucks start crashing into and destroying the Dixie Boy truck stop. The bulldozer plows through and then runs over, I think, Kurt and Connie's car. Then the liquid oxygen truck breaks or crashes through, and soon the whole truck stop explodes. As the Happy Toys truck leads a few others away to hunt the survivors down, I assume. The gang heads toward the marina, and so does the Happy Toys truck. It passes a school bus with, and this is terrible, a plane sticking up from inside, so the plane landed like in a nosedive into the bus. Ah, man. The Dixie Boy crew stop and rest near a fast food place called Burger Lean, and its menu with the speaker, like the thing that you would order from in the drive-thru, starts repeating, "Human deer, human deer, human deer, human deer, human deer, human deer." Now, what I like about this is it's very much like Tremors in that there are 10 survivors. Like, usually in movies there's only 1 or 2 or, maybe 3. But, 10 survivors, and they all have guns. Well, wait. So far, there's 10 survivors. And there's like 7 minutes left of the movie. Deke gets up and says,
This is for my dad, you not son of a bitch.
And he shoots the sign, putting it out of commission. Next, the ice cream truck appears, and Kurt and Brett fire at it, and it explodes, ending up upside down. Oh, by the way, the song that the ice cream truck was playing was Roger Miller's King of the Road. Roger Miller is great, by the way. I highly recommend checking out his songs. Also, I wonder if that's a reference to, like, Stephen King, like Stephen King of the Road? They head to the boats, and one of the characters, named Brad, goes to take a ridiculously large diamond ring off of a dead woman whose arm is hanging out of a car window. He gets it off, and as he's admiring it, the Happy Toys truck sneaks up on him and just creams him, leaving blood all over the Green Goblin's face. Bill takes the bazooka and blows up the Happy Toys truck. AC/DC's Who Made Who plays as they sail away to the island of misfit toys, or I don't know, somewhere. Bill declares everything is going to be all right, and we get some text saying 2 days later a large UFO was destroyed in space by a Russian weather satellite, which happened to be equipped with a laser cannon and Class 4 nuclear missiles. Approximately 6 days later, the Earth passed beyond the tail of Rhea M exactly as predicted. The survivors of the Dixie Boy are still survivors. Then the credits roll as AC/DC's You Shook Me All Night Long plays. It's funny, just as the movie ended, a semi-truck parked right outside my apartment to deliver supplies to a nearby bar/restaurant. Kind of freaked me out a little bit. So, that is Maximum Overdrive. Once again, no character named Ralph, and I did not get a bingo. Shit. Oh well. It's funny, I'm trying to figure out what in my apartment would try to kill me if this was really happening. Like, my Xbox would probably try to spit out whatever game is inside. Yeah, I don't know. I have a bunch of fans in my apartment. They'd probably turn on if they're plugged in. But nothing would get me in my immediate area, I don't think. I guess this computer, my laptop, probably would do something similar to, like, the video game in the movie. Or arcade game, rather. Anyway, alright, there's a few more things I want to do before ending this. If you've listened to previous episodes, you might know that I like to play around with anagrams and rearrange or shuffle words around and make different words or phrases. For instance, if you take Camp Loman and trucks and shuffle all of those letters around, you can get Cars Plot Muckman, which of course, as I referenced Camp Loman earlier when he's covered in mud, and I talked about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle character Muckman. So yeah, that was kind of funny. Camp Loman plus trucks, Cars Plot Muckman. Also, if you take Camp Loman plus trucks plus money, you get Clay Trump Common Snake, which is kind of fitting. All right, let's get into my questions. So the first question is, what character would you want to play or be cast as? I think I'd want to be either Duncan or Joe. I think those would be the parts that I probably would be cast in, if any. Either, or maybe possibly Camp Loman. That would be fun to play like a sleazy character like that. Yeah, maybe I'll go with Camp Loman, actually. All right, next question. What is your favorite line? There's a few that I really like. The Wanda June about the radio that she can't get Pete Turkey on it, or Brett's line about Camp Loman that he'll be wiping his ass with a hook. But I think I have to go with Bill's "Get out of the way, you happy asshole." I think that is just a funny line that I never noticed before until I watched it this time. Yeah, I think that's my favorite line. And now, what is your favorite gag? I think it would have to be when the sprinklers turn off and on when Deke looks back. It's like a very, I think I said it's like a Warner Brothers type cartoon-ish gag. Or like Laurel and Hardy or Three Stooges, kind of. All right, next question. What is your favorite kill? I think that would have to be Wanda June when she just gets blasted by that military vehicle with the gun. Yeah, and she's running out there saying, "We made you." Yeah, I think that's my favorite kill. What prop would you like to own? I think probably the Green Goblin face off the front of the Happy Toys truck. I'd love to put that in my apartment, either on the wall or just sitting on my kitchen table. Fuck it. People would just have to deal with it, just sitting at the table, eating, staring at that, having that thing stare at them. I don't know. Either that or I'd put it on my own vehicle. That would probably be a lot of fun, too. All right, next question. Which character should get a spin-off series or film? Possibly Bill and Brett. I don't know what they would do exactly. Or Kurt and Connie would be kind of fun. I don't know why, but I could see them opening up their own private eye firm or office. Do you call that a firm? I don't know. Anyway, they could, just investigate things, go on wacky investigative adventures. All right. And then, I think I mentioned that I might do away with the 7th question about who would be cast in a remake, because for some reason that always takes so much time to think of somebody. Like, I was trying to think of who would be good as Hendershot. I mean, Pat Hingle is so just great in that role. I don't know. The first person I thought of actually was Gary Busey, just because he's crazy. That might be kind of fun to see, but yeah, I don't know. Who else? Who is kind of on the level of Pat Hingle these days in 2025 now? Shit. Maybe Jeff Kober. If you watched Walking Dead, Jeff Kober played the leader of that group that Daryl joins up with, the Claimers, who, you have to, their rule is if you want something, you have to claim it. And he was the leader in that. He's also in one of my favorite X-Files episodes called Iced or Ice. I think it's a season 2 episode, maybe even season 1, where Mulder and Scully are in Antarctica. It's kind of similar to The Thing in a way, but yeah, Jeff Cobra plays a helicopter pilot in that. Yeah, I don't know. Ooh, then again, Stephen Root. Stephen Root, of course, played Milton in Office Space, and also he was on Barry. He played Barry's, like his mentor. So, yeah, let's go with Stephen Root. Okay, this is a new segment I'm introducing. It's called Possible/Probable Reincarnations. So what I'm going to do is take somebody from this movie who was born on the same day that somebody else famous died. So, for instance, Emilio Estevez was born on May 12th, 1962. Dick Calkins, artist for the Buck Rogers comic strip, and he also wrote for the radio program, died on May 12, 1962. So, if you believe in reincarnation, Emilio Estevez might have been reincarnated from him. Or Eugene Sullivan, who was one of the inventors of Pyrex bakeware, also died that day. So, Emilio Estevez may have been reincarnated from one of those gentlemen. Alright, I've got one more thing to share. It's just a dumb thing I wrote. Kind of a rap. Similar to Rodney Dangerfield's album Rappin' Rodney, or there's an episode of Garfield and Friends where Garfield does this rap about Odie. It's a segment called Ode to Odie. So yeah, it's just a really stupid thing I wrote. Obviously you heard part of it at the beginning. But of course it's about this movie, so it's kind of my ode to Maximum Overdrive. Anyway, here it is. Okay, I know I ain't no Eminem, I ain't got a sweater with vomit, but let me tell you about this comet. I grew up in the country, we'd go to the city though, stop at Tape Deck and rent a video. I said, hey, here's one, can we rent this? It's produced by Dino De Laurentiis. The soundtrack is packed with riffs on guitars. Might have been fitting if they went with the Cars. They went in for the kill with AC/DC though, and the hero Bill is played by Emilio. Bill, yes Bill, make the breakfast, bub, but this ain't the Breakfast Club, and this ain't Mighty Ducks. Pretty soon they'll be fighting trucks. Pat Hingle plays Hendershot like a gas station warden. Another role, lesser known, a Twilight Zone, he plays Horace Forden. Of course, he's probably best known as Commissioner Gordon. Camp Loman's a huckster showman, probably never been to a Bible camp. Picks up a woman he sees as a viable tramp. See those trucks? They have no drivers, but these are Dixie Boy survivors. Except some, like Wanda June, full of life and perky, had a run-in with a gun and knife, she's
Peep turkey.
See the machine gun vehicle mortally winger, now I hit the brake for my backup singers. Hender shot brung guns, Connie has lung guns, Dean Semler shot young guns, Deke plays Little League, the trucks made his team fold, especially the poor kid who got fucking steamrolled. Well, there's porn on the wall where I think you're bunkin', careful where you're looking, Duncan, you'll be in for a surprise. There's one eye in Diesel, now there's Diesel in two eyes. Anyway, apologies to Stephen King, like Duncan I'm dropping keys and can't even sing. This is how you stay alive during a maximum overdrive. What a bad day to be a trucker.
Adios, motherfucker!
Yep. Well, alright, it's time for me to pick my next movie using my pickerwheel.com. I'm gonna push the button. Alright, the wheel is spinning. And a movie has been chosen. It's a movie that starts with the letter F. Ooh. Could we be returning to Friday the 13th? I was hoping to do a Nightmare on Elm Street or Halloween first, but, well, we'll see. It could be Fright Night, could be Fatal Games. I almost said, I'm embarrassed to admit I almost started to say Phantasm. Oh my god. Alright, the second letter is an R, so, oh boy, it could be the next Friday the 13th. Could be, but again, yeah, it could be Fright Night. Freddy's dead, no. Alright, the second or the third letter is, oh, it's an I. That still could be Fright Night or Friday the 13th. Is there anything else? I don't think so. I can't think of anything else. Alright, it all depends what this fourth letter is. F-R-I-D. Well, I mean, what else could it be? Friday the 13th, Part 2. So, yeah, we're kind of returning to the... the first movie I did, of course, was Friday the 13th, so Friday the 13th, Part 2. Shit. I really was hoping to get a Nightmare on Elm Street or Halloween in, but that's alright. So, yeah, come back for the next episode for Friday the 13th, Part 2. Friday the 13th Part 2 is one of my all-time favorite horror movies. Not just favorite Friday the 13th, just horror movies in general. I really do enjoy watching it. So yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. Alright, I guess thank you very much for listening. Email me at horrorshufflepod@gmail.com. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, follow me on there. Otherwise, I'll just see you for next episode. In other words, I'll be right back. Hopefully sooner than a year from now. It pulls into the Dixie Boy truck stop. There's also a big truck, not big truck, a big truck. Oh, jeez. It happens whenever the trucks attack, or, well, not, I mean, the knife is not a truck, you dumb fuck. Dumb truck. Then we hear a truck engine start, engine. Oh, fuck. It and the trash truck park again. I said that weird. Park again. Sounds like they're gonna make out. And Carrie Lofton, who played the Psycho Tanko. Psycho Tanko. Sounds like a song by Ted Nugent.
Fuck. Oh, fuck. Shit. Tony, do me a favor, will you please? Will you do me a kindness?
Leave.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to be walking in and out if you're going to fuck up and I got to come back.
I don't make any difference to me at this juncture. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Tony. Don't slam the fucking door. No more.
This machine just called me an asshole.